Thanks for joining us on this Feel Good Friday. I'm Chivon Kloepfer.
It makes people happy.
Coming up on Catching Up with Kloepfer.
When they told us we're going, they called me at home and said, grab your ride helmet and your nightstick. We're going to Detroit. All right, so I did that. Not one of us packed a bag. We were there for 7 days in July, hottest month of the year, wearing exactly the same clothes at the start as we did when we left.
Wow.
You didn't need to have a siren on. They could smell you coming.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Catching Up with Kloepfer. I'm Chivon Kloepfer. I'm a news anchor here at WLNS TV6 in Lansing, Michigan, and we are coming to you from our WLNS Plus digital studio, and I'm excited. I have a very special guest joining me today, so let's meet him. Why not? This is the Mr. Gene Wriggelsworth, the former sheriff of Ingham County here in mid-Michigan. Hello, Gene.
Hi, good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. How have you been? Because the last time we really had a long conversation and I interviewed you was a couple months after you retired from being sheriff, and that was in 2017. So what have you been up to? We'll talk about the book in a little bit because I know you've been busy with that. But what else have you been up to? How's retirement?
Retirement's great. Should have done it maybe before I did, but it's been great. A great experience. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I belong to 2 or 3 volunteer groups that keep me busy. The Tuesday Two Men we talked about earlier.
Yes. Well, since you mentioned it, real fast, go ahead and tell people what that is.
Tuesday Two Men is a group that the city runs where we've got about 24 guys and a gal, and we build handicap ramps every Tuesday for people that have disabilities. And it's a very rewarding job. If you want to feel good, be a Tuesday Two Men.
And you're always looking for volunteers? Or are you pretty full?
We're pretty full right now,
Okay.
but I don't think we've ever turned anybody away.
Okay. Good stuff. And you said the city, so you mean Lansing?
City of Lansing,
Okay,
yes.
Great. I want to sort of give people another idea of a little bit of who you are. And I did a story back in 2017, like I said, after you retired. And so I want to play that story for our viewers now. And then I kind of want to get your reaction to it after we watch it. So take a look at this.
Give me some cover.
The early 1960s, known for the Vietnam War, President John F. Kennedy,
We observe today
and the fight for civil rights. It was also the time high schooler Gene Wriggelsworth seriously considered a career in law enforcement. It happened after his wife-to-be moved next door to a state police sergeant.
He was all over me to be a state trooper, and I got to thinking, that doesn't sound like a bad deal. So when I got old enough, I took the test, and the rest is history.
And what a history it would turn out to be. From growing up on a farm to starting out as a trooper at the Michigan State Police Flat Rock Post in Wayne County. And just months into his new career, the Detroit riot happened.
We got shot at many times, but there were snipers, and the bullets would bounce off your car, but you couldn't see where they came from, so you didn't just pull out and start shooting your guns.
2 years later, he moved to the East Lansing MSP post, was eventually promoted to sergeant, and then started in the Metro Narcotics Squad. Yes, this is Gene. He was undercover in the drug unit at the time, hence the look.
Bought some drugs off a guy down in Jackson County one time. I had a wad of money, and I give it to him, and he's down on his hands and knees on the floor, and he's counting the money. And he's counting the money. I wonder what that is. And I just reached back in my pants, pulled out a gun. I said, Don, you're under arrest. And he blinked, and he looked at me a couple of times, and he says, Gene, how could you do this to me? And that was a compliment to me. Like, I really had fooled this guy.
Wherever the drug deals went, he had to go. A lot of times he had to go up to the UP. So he was an involved dad, coached Boy Scouts with my brothers. He did all that stuff. He just wasn't on an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday schedule. So that left a lot of the burden on my mom.
After 14 years, though, it was time for Gene to move on from the narcotics unit and the MSP. And it was then, in 1988, he decided to take a crack at the sheriff's position in Ingham County and won.
The sheriff's office was, back in '88, it was a mess. It was poorly managed, and I'm being kind. And I took it over, and I was determined that I was going to make it what it should be, a highly respected, efficient law enforcement agency. And I think I've done that. I never claim perfection. We certainly can improve on a number of areas we can improve on. But we give it the best with what we had available to us.
7 terms, 28 years later, and after 50 years in law enforcement, Gene says he knew it was time to retire, and he'd already been grooming his perfect replacement.
I will faithfully discharge the duties of Ingham County Sheriff.
This really started about 10 years ago. I announced my candidacy back January 2015. And then we've been able to take this journey together, and it's been great for me to have my dad as a mentor along, not only in the political process, but now as I've taken over. He's on speed dial 1, and when I've got my first issue that I've never dealt with before and I need a word of advice, I know who I'm going to call.
What do you think?
Well, it certainly brings back great memories. Seeing myself in those younger years brings back a lot of memories, but also swearing in Scott for the first time was quite rewarding.
I imagine. And I assume, wanted to get into law enforcement because he saw you, his dad, really
all of our boys got into law enforcement, and people say, did you urge them that way? And I didn't actually urge them in the other way. They went to college. My wife and I paid for their college, but they said they wanted to get a degree in criminal justice, and I said, no, you're going to get a degree in something other than that in case the cop thing doesn't work out. You've got a backup plan. And they went into it anyhow.
Why wouldn't it work out? Is it it's just not for everybody?
Yeah, some people, it's not for them. And we've hired people at the sheriff's office that discovered that they needed to do something different. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a job for everybody. But it worked out for our boys, and it worked out for me.
Yeah. So I know you've done watching, obviously, brought back some memories, but writing your book, I want to highlight this. Will you hold it up for us and give us the title and everything? My goodness, 50 years of duty. That's a lot for any career. And I imagine, especially for a law enforcement official, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I don't think there's anybody around here that could claim that many years. But I started young. I was 21 when I entered the academy, making me the youngest trooper for one academy. 50 years later, I'm done.
Yeah, it goes like that, right?
Well, it does go fast. 22 years in the state police. It's interesting because I did the Metro Narcotics Squad thing for 14 of those 22 years. And it's a stressful, trying situation. And I'd go to work often at 8 in the morning and didn't come home until 2 the next morning.
Wow.
That was common. So after I did that for 14 years, got to thinking, I can't do this much longer. It's wearing me out. So I mentioned to my wife that the sheriff's job was coming up, and I knew the current sheriff then was in political trouble, and I said, I want to give that a shot. She backed me on it, and it worked out.
Yeah, she was thinking, does that mean I have you home more often? And
it did mean that, although there's a lot of stuff that goes with night work with the sheriff's office, but not as much as at the Metro Squad, and not as stressful.
So congratulations on being a published author.
Thank you.
And your book is doing very well. Is that what I hear?
It's a bestseller. When it went out the first day at 9 in the morning, by midnight that night, it was a bestseller.
Congratulations.
This is an Amazon bestseller, and I make that clear.
Wow. So how does it feel? What was the process like?
Well, actually, our son's wife, Mary Jo, the sheriff, Scott's wife, Mary Jo, kind of got this ball rolling. The chief deputy at the sheriff's office, Darren Southworth's wife, knew this ghostwriter. And so they hooked us up. Her name is Cindy Chosick. She's in the book here. Give her a lot of credit. She knows how to write a book. I don't. I can tell her the stories, but to put them in something that makes sense to a reader is another story. And I told her when we started this, I said, Cindy, I don't know if anybody's going to care about this, because these are stories that cops sit around a bar and have a drink and tell war stories about. And she put me kind of at ease, saying, Gene, the best TV shows and movies are about what you did for a living, so don't worry about it. And when you think of it that way, she's probably right.
Yes. I was fascinated sitting down with you years ago and seeing the pictures and the machine guns and surrounded by drugs and all sorts of things. My goodness. It's
a highly stimulating job.
Yeah. How does it feel to be, the book is done? You said it was a 2-year process. So how does that feel?
Well, it felt good. The process is time consuming. And there's a lot of meetings with Cindy, and she recorded things, and she had this machine you talked into, and it transcribes it for her.
Love that.
But you have to edit everything because it doesn't always transcribe word for word the way it should be. So that was a lot of work. And after you've edited your book the 3rd time, your eyeballs feel like they're going to fall out of their head. And then it goes to the publisher. and it's the same thing all over again.
Oh,
They'll send you printed copies, and once you okay it and want to change it after that, you pay for that.
oh my goodness.
So you want to be very careful when you edit these things. But it was an eye-opening process, but I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Ask me if I'd do it again. No.
I was going to say, is there going to be a part 2? Why did you want to?
Well, I talked about that with my wife, Sandy, and she wanted to do it as a legacy for our family. And the more I thought about it, the more sense it made. So that's why it came about.
What are people going to learn? I mean, we saw a brief, 2.5-minute thing on your life and career and 50 years in law enforcement. What are readers going to get out of it, do you think? Obviously some intense stories about things that you go through that I think if you're not in law enforcement, you don't realize some of the things that our police officers and deputies and investigators and undercover agents are doing. But what are people going to get out of it?
Well, they'll learn a lot about me. I grew up on a small dairy farm in a little town north of Owasso called Henderson, and I loved it. I loved farming. I loved being with the animals and out in the open and stuff like that. But for me to get into farming would have cost a fortune because my dad I wasn't going to inherit the farm. He was still farming, so I'd have to go buy everything from scratch. And as we said earlier, my wife, our senior year in high school, moved next to a state trooper. Then I met the guy, and he grabbed me by the arm and he says, "Gene, you're going to be a state trooper." And I thought, what the heck is a state trooper,
Yeah.
But it intrigued me enough that I checked into it and decided to try it, and here we are.
Yes, but just a couple months, as we learned into your career, the Detroit riots, and you had said in the interview, you're getting shot at by snipers. I mean, did you not think at that moment, I don't know? Or did you just think, this is my calling?
I did think, what kind of a career did I get into?
Yes.
It was scary. But we had a lot of help there. We always went everywhere in a gang of 4 cars, and our state police car was driven by a Detroit policeman because they knew their way around the city. And so you felt fairly comfortable that way. And when we got a report of a sniper, we'd pull into an intersection, and the first thing you did when you got out of your car is shoot all the street lights out so you wouldn't be illuminated.
Right.
And so that's my wife seeing this at home. Now, we got a newborn. And so I call her the second day and try to assuage her concerns, and she ain't having any part of it. She says, "I see what's going on TV." And
Get back to the farm,
yeah,
Gene.
Yeah. But we go down there. When they told us we're going, they called me at home and said, "Grab your ride helmet and your nightstick. We're going to Detroit." All right, so I did that. Not one of us packed a bag. We were there for 7 days in July, hottest month of the year, wearing exactly the same clothes at the start as we did when we left. Wow. You didn't need to have a siren on. They could smell you coming.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. When you think back to those times, because that was the beginning of your career, I mean, like you said, you did have pause and thought,
Yep.
but you kept going. You
Yeah.
kept going.
We did. And eventually I did my 2 years at Flat Rock, and then they had a policy back then after 2 years they'd transfer you somewhere. And I tried to use a little state police psychology because you don't know where they're going to send you. And they told you to write a list of 8 state police posts that you would prefer to go to. And you're going to get one of those 8. So I picked East Lansing as my number 8 pick, trying to use a little reverse psychology, and I got it.
Really?
Yes. And because Sandy wanted to get back near her family. And so we came here in 1968, and I spent the rest of my state police career in East Lansing.
Wow. It's so neat. Do you have any regrets about the path that you took, or 14 years in the narcotics unit and long out? I mean, are there any regrets, or are you this is my life and I'm proud of it, and
I have no regrets. I had a blessed career. The 14 years in the Metro Squad is myself and the other Lieutenant Paul Whitford from the State Police. We get to supervise the best of local law enforcement. And I could name you some of the names, but I'd miss some, and I don't want to do that. But we got assigned officers from the various departments in this area to work with us. And it just created a whole new image of me for local law enforcement and what they do for this community. Just a great bunch of men and women. One of them, Patty Novak, probably not a name you know, but we did a raid in Lansing one time, and the apartment was an upstairs, outside staircase. And she kicked the door in, and she walked in, and the guy shot her. He shot her right at the hairline in her head. and the bullet traversed under her scalp but above her skull and exited out the back of her head. And she went down like a ton of bricks. And he shot her again, but this time he shot her in the back of the leg, near the knee. And that was a shot that hurt her. And we all kidded her afterwards that we got a hard head, Patty.
Wow.
That was some of the trauma that we went through, because you don't want somebody to get shot or killed on your shift, you know. And we had Dick Cartwright, a Lansing policeman. We raided a house over in Lansing, and we go up and bang on the door, police officer search warrant, and hear a shot. And Dick went down, I thought, to kill the guy, but actually shot him on the leg. And those kind of things that just create a lot of unwanted stress, for lack of a better term.
I'll say, every time I meet a police officer, I'm in awe of the things that they do and that you did, and so much respect.
Well, it's not a job for everybody, and but the people that are in it are dedicated people for the most part. Now, it's not a perfect profession. Which one is, you know?
Right.
But for the most part, the majority of police officers are hardworking, dedicated people that do their best to keep the world safe.
Did you have any really close calls personally while you were out there?
Well, I was standing next to Dick Cartwright when he got shot, so that was a fairly close call. But no, I don't think so. Anything that would cause me great concern. I mean, we certainly heard, we raided a house, you'd hear gunfire or something, so you're a little more tense as you go in. But for the most part, when you do raids and arrests like that, you always have your team. Plus, you have 4 or 5 or 6 uniform officers. So, in that sense, I think working in a crew like that is safer than a police officer on patrol, because they're by themselves. So you walk up to a bad guy and wants to shoot you, he's going to get the first shot.
Right.
And so.
As sheriff, you have any fondest memories or anything that really stands out to you at your time as sheriff? Because it was 7 terms, is that right?
Right.
In Ingham
I'm the
County.
longest serving Ingham County sheriff. Well, the sheriff's office and police work in general changed over that 28 years in terms of they got in-car cameras now and body cameras and all those things. And all those things came about while I was working. And it's a lot of work integrating these new processes and training the people and those kind of things. But it's all been for the better. And it's going to change more. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah. What do you want people to know about law enforcement in general and just the type of people that you guys are? And
well, I would say cops are like anybody else. They just put on a uniform when they go to work and put themselves in harm's way. And I think that's how you look at it. When you see most officers off duty, they look like anybody else. You know, you won't know the difference.
Right. And
they don't act like any different than anybody else. And I think if people remember that they're just people that are doing a job to keep you safe.
Did you take a lot of police life to home life? Was it hard to shut that off and just be home?
I tried not to, but all of our kids went into law enforcement. And somebody asked me, why do you think that? Did you make it? No. I said, but I think when they sit around the dinner table and Dad tells you about something he did the day before, it gets in their blood. And I think my sons would tell you that.
Obviously, extremely proud of your sons and what they do.
Great kids.
But did you think, I don't know if I want you to do that because you know what you encountered? Or was that?
Well, you do think about that because of the things that I went through. And we took a trip to Europe a few years ago. And Sandy wanted to know if I was going to take the phone. And I said, well, I am. You have to get international calling to do that. But when you got 3 kids in law enforcement, something happens, you need to know it. And so that's kind of how I thought about it is you're still a dad and you're still a mom and you want to make sure your kids are okay.
Yeah. Where can we pick up this incredible book?
You can get it on Amazon. Just go to 50 Years of Duty or Gene Wriggelsworth. I think either one of those would probably bring you to that page to order it.
Okay.
The hardcover copy will be out here in another 3 or 4 weeks, I think.
Okay.
Right now it's only available in paperback.
Okay. Gene Wriggelsworth, former sheriff, former state trooper, published author. It's very exciting. It's exciting. I love that. I have a couple of just sort of cheesy cop questions. Do you care if people call you a cop? Like, is that a bad name?
No, I don't. That doesn't bother. I don't think it bothers most people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just always avoid it, for the news. We try to be proper, and if it's a police officer or deputy, but I've just always wondered if cops minded being called cops.
It's just kind of a slang. People, we're used to that.
Okay. All right. Did you ever have...
I've been called worse, trust me.
Did you ever have a quota for speeding tickets for your deputies or anything where you needed to make sure that they are out there and working and...
I don't know of any department around here that has a quota. That quota thing, people perpetuate themselves because they got a ticket. Now they're just trying to fill their quota. Well, that's just not true. Now, with that said, if you get an officer that goes out on 12-hour patrol, or 12-hour shifts, go out on 12 hours of patrol and doesn't stop a car, he's going to hear from the sergeant.
Right.
You got to do something out there. I mean, you can't drive from here to Mason without finding a violation for something.
Right.
And
these days, everyone's on their phones, it seems.
Exactly.
And, there's speeders all over. I see what you're saying. Do cops really like donuts?
Well, I don't know of any that ever turned one down. But it's not normally the first thing you do when you go out on patrol.
Right. Is go get the coffee and donuts.
Right.
Have you been to Cops and Donuts? I think it's in Clare.
I have.
Have
Yes.
you?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat place.
Yeah. It's neat. I haven't been there in a long time, but I know that they've got great donuts, and they're pretty big too.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. I don't know about you.
And I think they're low calorie for the most part too.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Tell yourself that, Gene. So what's going on with you now? We've retired. We wrote the book. We're an author. You're, I'm sure, signing autographs and doing interviews. But what's?
I'm still on a couple of board of directors. I'm still on the 100 Club board of directors, and the 100 Club is a group that helps families who go through tragedy of the criminal justice system, or first responders, I should say. And so if you get killed in the line of duty or one of your family members, we'll step right in and help them financially. It's been a good thing, and that was put together as a result of Officer Jim Johnson from East Lansing getting murdered many years ago. I tell you, I do the Tuesday to Amend stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I work with my wife at Give a Kid Projects. I'm kind of the maintenance man there, for lack of a better term. So mow the lawn at our church, do that stuff, and just enough stuff to keep me busy.
Yeah. And you're enjoying retirement then?
Love it.
Yeah. Why? Just because you're not working?
Well, I'm busy every day, but it's my busy, and I don't have to answer to somebody else about why this went wrong or that went wrong or why I need more money or this, that, or the other. So
It's been 2017. Your son, Scott Wrigglesworth, current sheriff of Ingham County, still doing his thing. Has he called you a lot over the years and said, hey, Dad, I need advice, or, what are your thoughts on this or that?
his first 6 or 8 months, I maybe got 3 phone calls where he had a situation that he wasn't quite sure how he wanted to proceed on it. He was going to do what he wanted to do anyhow, but
Right.
I told him what I would do, but he's got it down. I mean, he's way beyond most law enforcement heads now.
That's great. You're proud dad. I can see it in your eyes. Proud dad.
He actually is the chair of the Ingham County Chiefs Association and has been for 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So sheriff wasn't enough. You had to does some more stuff. Sounds familiar. Runs in the family, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
Is there anything else you want to say or add or talk about? What's next for you? Just keep on keeping up and.
Yeah, I guess I would say this: if there are young men and women out there that want a rewarding career that requires a lot of night work, this is the way to go.
Yeah, being a police officer. Yeah. And I think too, for road patrol, how many years do you have to put in for kind of the road patrol generally? I know departments vary before you kind of get into more special assignments or maybe, undercover or.
Well, you need to have a couple of years in general just to make sure you understand the process for law enforcement. But after a couple of years, most police officers could train new police officers. You get a lot of experience in a short period of time. So after a couple of years, but usually around 4 or 5 or 6 years, they get the itch. They want to get promoted to sergeant, or they want to get transferred to a special unit like the Metro Squad or maybe the SWAT team and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. And that's great. I mean, there's always people that want to do that, and there's always a waiting list, and you get them in.
Yeah. And I guess just one more time, because, man, I bet you go home or you went home at the end of the day thinking, wow, I did, some really awesome stuff for the people that I work with. Saved lives tonight. Holy cow. I mean, how, like you said, rewarding is that? And what a career. to be proud of.
It's very rewarding. I've probably talked about this before, Chivon, but during my 28-year career at the sheriff's office, I had 2 officers die in the line of duty, and that was something to have to go through. To first of all go tell the family, those kind of things, and I don't wish that on anybody. But I felt when the notification had to take place, I felt it needed to come from me. I didn't send some subordinate to go tell these widows that their husband had got killed. So that's a memory that will never leave my mind, is telling these people that.
Yeah.
They got this look in their eyes like, oh my God. And they should have,
Yeah, that's the worst of the job.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, Jean, I want to say congratulations again on your book. I want to hold it up one more time. 50 Years of Duty. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what a career. And thank you for that career.
Thank you for having me today.
It was great catching up with you, Jean.
And that's our show for today. You can watch Catching Up with Kloepfer every Friday here on WLNS Plus. But I'm not done just yet. Stick around after the break as we work on finding families for one of the thousands of children in Michigan's foster care system right now who are looking for their forever home. We'll be right back. I'm a mom of 3, and it breaks my heart knowing there are so many children here in Michigan in foster care who are searching for their forever family. So every week on Catching Up with Kloepfer, we are going to do what we can in hopes of finding families for children in this state who are looking for a permanent, loving home right now. This segment is thanks to a partnership with a nonprofit called Grant Me Hope, which interviews children in foster care to learn more about them, their likes, their goals, and their dreams of finding a new family. Here's this week's child.
Hi, I'm Madison. I'm 13 and I'm in 7th grade. I like to go swimming. I like to play on playgrounds. I like to go swimming a lot because I have a lake nearby my house. I'm thinking about playing cross country. And then in the spring, I'm going to be playing track. I do the 100, 200, and 400. Yes, I really love playing football. I love skiing. My favorite subject is math. I like algebra. Social studies is my least favorite. They will say my personality is really funny, and they will match. It kind of matches theirs. I really want to travel to Florida or Canada, and my goal is to get through college. I really want a family that will let me have my space when needed. I really like the Detroit Tigers and is it the Minnesota Vikings? Yeah, I really like the Minnesota Vikings. All of their players are just really good. Okay, I want this in the video. My favorite tree is a pine tree. They're really spiky and I just like playing with them. You get to decorate them for Christmas, which is really fun. Christmas. I'm really excited for Christmas this year. And I really want a new clay bead kit, beads, bracelets, and necklaces. I haven't made a clay bead necklace yet, but I'm gonna try. Yeah, I really like doing that. So what I'm doing, I made like 8 bracelets and I'm bringing them to school and I'm selling them for $1 for 2.